My name is Megan Zilla, and I was chose to do synthesis and regulation of the thyroid hormone. Okay, so the thyroid hormone is regulated by the negative feedback system, which means that your body is able to recognize whether or not it needs more T3 or T4, and then when it has enough, it goes ahead and shuts off the system. So what we're looking at here is the top of the picture is the hypothalamus, which releases TRH, which is thyroid releasing hormone, which releases to the anterior lobe of the pituitary. Then the anterior lobe of the pituitary goes ahead and releases the TSH to the thyroid gland, which then makes the T3 and T4. So then once there's enough T3 and T4 in the body, then it goes ahead and shut off until it is recognized that it needs it again. Okay, so this picture here is going to be a microscopic slide of the thyroid gland. So basically your thyroid gland is made up of a whole bunch of thyroid follicles, which is what I have circled in blue. And then inside is what they call the colloid, which is basically the intracellular fluid of the thyroid follicle. You're going to see in the next parts takes part in where the synthesis of the actual T3 and T4 are made. Another part of it is in the follicular cell, which is the one you have in green, which is one of the little cuboidal epithelial cells of the thyroid follicle. So in this first picture here you can see that it's just a blown up picture of one of those follicular cells. And then at the bottom you have the capillary, and then where the colloid it's called the follicle cavity. And then the big blue thing in the middle is the nucleus of the cell, as it is one of those epithelial cells. So this first step here is just showing that the iodine is absorbed from the foods that we eat, and then it's brought in through the bloodstream to a follicular cell. After that is done, the iodide diffuses to the top of the cell, and then either one or two iodide ions attaches to the tyrosine portion of a thyroglobin molecule. So the thyroglobin molecule is there in pink, and then you can see that the iodide molecule is attaching. And then this is done in the follicle cavity of the cell. Then the tyrosine molecules with attached iodide ions become linked by covalent bonds, which is what forms the thyroid hormones. So there are two types, T3, which contains 3 iodide ions, and T4, which contains 4. Then, after this happens, the follicle cells remove thyroglobin from the follicles by endocytosis. Okay, so once back in the follicular cell, the thyroglobulin goes through lysosomal digestion, where the lysosomal enzymes break down the thyroglobulin, and the amino acids and thyroid hormones are in the cytoplasm. The amino acids are then recycled and used to synthesize more thyroglobulin. And then the T3 and T4 molecules that are now freely floating diffuse across the basement membrane and enter the bloodstream. So once in the bloodstream, the T3 and the T4 are attached to thyroid-binding globulins, and then these are what transport the thyroid to the rest of the body.